A LOGBAIT deck, also known as Spellbait, consists, as the name suggests, of many cards that give the opponent a prime opportunity to use a spell to kill off what you've just played, giving you the opportunity to play more squishy stuff in a smart way so that you can easily deal a lot of damage to their towers. The first LOGBAIT deck that I can personally remember being talked about anywhere consisted of the Ice Spirit, the Log, Arrows, Goblin Gang, Knight, Goblin Barrel, Inferno Tower, and the Rocket, but the arrows very quickly started being swapped out for the princess, and so the archetype was born. With that said, we need to pick a variant to use, of which there are now many. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be talking about this variant on the original deck using the Valkyrie and Tesla Tower instead of the Knight and Inferno Tower, though if you're still seeing a lot of P.E.K.K.A or Golem and other heavy troops like that, you may want to think about taking the Inferno Tower in place of the Tesla Tower. Let's go through the cards one by one in cost order, then, once we've talked about the cards and their main uses, we can take a look at strategy and how we'll deal with some common decks, and after that, we can take a look at substitute cards for the lower arenas. First up, we've got the Ice Spirit. Of all the cards commonly taken in this archetype, the Ice Spirit has been a staple since the very beginning. It may not seem like much, but as a one-cost card, this chilly little guy is amazing in any situation. You can cycle it at the bridge to get to something that you need within your cycle, and having a high damage to cost ratio gets some good chip damage on the enemy tower. You can use it on defense to distract enemy troops and buy your own troops a bit of extra time to hack away, or on the offense in my favorite attack within the deck, using it to tank tower damage for a Goblin Barrel. The Log. The Log is an amazing spell that will aid you in almost every single matchup excluding Lavaloon. But who's playing Lavaloon anymore, right? Whatever the case, this studded splinter is going to serve you well, whether it's eradicating a Skami, wrecking a Goblin Gang with a prediction, or just cycling it for the amazing value chip damage. Goblin Gang. I make it very clear in all of my videos and stream, Twitch every Saturday and Sunday, that I love swarm cards. And on top of that, Goblin Gang is my favourite to use. It provides 3 stabby goblins and 2 spear goblins for only 3 elixir. It may not be as powerful as when it was originally introduced, but it gives amazing value nonetheless. Being a swarm, it can be used to distract the likes of P.E.K.K.A, allowing your Tesla Tower to chip away at her, or to plough through an elixir golem with ease. Goblin Barrel. This is going to be your primary win condition within any LOGBAIT deck. If you can help it, you should only be playing the barrel on the opponent's tower. When playing the barrel, it's important to keep positioning in mind. People will be expecting you to surround the tower, especially on your first throw. So be sure to keep the opponent on their toes by putting the goblins to one side, corner, or actually away from the tower completely with a tricky barrel. This can actually cause the opponent to waste their log, which is amazing in a LOGBAIT deck. Princess. The Princess is, in my opinion, one of the most diverse support cards available within the game, and there are 3 main ways that you're going to play her. Behind the King Tower to cycle her out as an investment, between the King Tower and a Princess Tower for defense, or at the bridge to get some cheeky chip damage to keep up the pressure on the opponents. All of these plays will end up with the Princess in log range and almost always tripping up over the raged up Splinter. Tesla Tower. This tower is going to be your hero against any tower targeting troop. I'm looking at you, Hog Rider, and will rip apart any tank as long as you can stop them getting to it. Valkyrie. This strong, independent lady can work her way through any swarm with ease and is the best tank for a Goblin Barrel if you can pull it off. Just don't make her try and take down Big Mama P.E.K.K.A on her own. She'll get slammed into the ground very hard and very quickly. Rocket. This is your secondary win condition for those matchups where you simply can't get any damage on the opponent's tower. Simply start cycling your rockets, trying to make sure that you can get some additional value where possible. Matchups. Let's look at 4 very popular decks right now. The ever popular 2.6 Hog Cycle, a generic Bridge Spam, a generic Minor Poison, and Expo. God, I hate Expo. I'll be making reference to the specific decks that you're seeing on screen right now, but if there's something else related to the mentioned decks, I'll try to shout them out specifically. Hog Cycle. So the two main threats for heavy damage in this deck are the Hog and the Musketeer. The Hog is easy enough to catch with the Tesla Tower, but because their deck cycles so quickly, you need to be careful not to be caught off guard without your Tesla Tower in hand. If you do, your best defense will likely be a Goblin Gang, meaning you'll take at least one hit on your tower. The Musketeer again should be easy enough to catch with the Valkyrie. Once this interaction is finished up, you can get her tanking for a Goblin Barrel, but again, be wary. If they know what they're doing, they will be saving their log for the barrel. You can, however, get around this with a tricky barrel, but if you can't get a barrel to stick, try to hold out to a double elixir and play a game of Rocket Cycle while using the princess to chip away from the bridge, along with getting some good value logs. Bridge spam. My two favourite interactions in this matchup are dealing with the Battle Ram and Big Mama P.E.K.K.A. The Ram is easy enough. Get a Valkyrie down, possibly with an Ice Spirit if you're a bit late on the placement, or if there is something tanking for the Ram, then prepare for a good counter push with the Valkyrie tanking for a barrel. Again, this is a matchup where they should be saving their log for the barrel, so be creative with your barrel placements. Oddly enough, the P.E.K.K.A. is where I would use the Tesla Tower here with a Goblin Gang soaking up those big sword swings. If they log the gang away, a well-placed Ice Spirit should buy you enough time for the P.E.K.K.A. to fade away from worry. Try to keep your princesses healthy in this matchup as they will help thin out their attacks drastically. You should also find that because they're trying to keep the pressure up, that you can get multiple Tesla Towers down. Do this in double elixir and they should burn out very quickly, allowing you to get a barrel or rocket in. Just play conservatively and try to get good value trades where you can, and you should be fine. This is also a matchup where you shouldn't panic about using rocket defensively. If you see 8 elixir that you can kill for 6 elixir, do it. There is no downside. Minor Poison. This is a pretty difficult matchup due to Minor Poison normally having both a log and a poison. A good strategy, if you can get the opponent to fall for it, is to bait out the log with a barrel and then bait out the poison with a princess. This will allow you to catch the Minor with the Goblin Gang, but you will be out of bait cards, leaving you with rockets for jumping away at the enemy towers. What's more likely to happen though, is that you'll need to try to catch their Minor with your Valkyrie and bait the logs with your princess, leaving the Valkyrie to tank for the barrel as per usual on the counter attack, or allowing you to barrel with an Ice Spirit. The key here is just making sure that they don't get too much value with their Minor and / or their poison. Ice Bow. In this matchup, rocket is your best friend. Every time the opponent puts down an X-Bow, you want to have a rocket coming down on it hard with something, literally anything, tanking the remaining shots from the X-Bow. You should also be able to get good value here with your rocket, as there will almost always be something else with the X-Bow. Whether it's a set of archers or a measly set of skeletons, value is value. The next problem to overcome is the log. To bait this out and get a good barrel, you could use the Goblin Gang as the tank placed in the middle for the remaining hits on the first X-Bow or two, and then when they predict the same move on the third, you can swap to the Valkyrie and go for a barrel Ice Spirit with a princess at the bridge as well, just to really make them regret their life choices. Be careful if the opponent chooses to go on a rocket race. If this happens and you're even or even slightly behind, maybe try to hide a Goblin Barrel in the smoke trail of the rockets. It may be the sleight of hand that you need to pull ahead and win the game. Right, so I thought I recorded my voice when I was recording these videos, but all the games are live. But these are the first games that I played in a long time on the ladder, since I've stopped playing LOGBAIT, so let's see how we do. So this first deck that we're going against is, if I remember rightly, quite an odd one. So you can see I've defended well for that weird push that he did at the start. I'm going to put a princess right behind the king tower just as an investment. I'm going to stop the prince with the Valkyrie, and then we also take down his guards. But I didn't anticipate him putting down anyway, but with that fireball out of the way, we're going to go for a Goblin Barrel and an Ice Spirit. My favourite attack within this deck. Honestly, it gets so much damage if it's left alone, and if you do it, they have to be they have to give it an answer of some kind. So we're going to surround the Electro Wizard there, just to make sure that he doesn't get any damage on the tower. So again, we're looking at a princess. We're going to do it at the bridge to get a bit of cheeky chip damage and to draw that prince out. and then he puts a knight down and doesn't even. We don't quite draw out what we want to draw out, but it's all good. It's all good. So we put the Valkyrie down to tank this knight, and we're going to go for a Goblin Barrel on the tower when she is tanking for it. We're expecting a fireball here. There we go. There's a fireball there. So Ice Spirit to get rid of his bats. Tesla Tower to work through the Prince, and then a Goblin Gang to stop it from wrecking our Tesla Tower, because that would really, really suck. So we're going to invest in a Valkyrie at the back. I was expecting a big push here, so just getting a little bit of value out of the rocket here. We're going to send it in on a Prince, log all everything that we've just had coming our way. I'm pretty sure that's the only damage we take this game, because the rocket wasn't the best timed. So we're gonna Valkyrie to E-Wiz, get some value there, and then if we wanted to, we could go for a push on the right hand side, but we're not going to. We just want to concentrate on the left hand tower. So we're going to chip away the Princess. We should only need to rocket after a couple of hits. So we need one more log and a rocket, and then that will be good game. There we go. And like you can see there, like I was wondering whether he was actually going to do anything to prolong that game, but yeah, he just let the Goblin Barrel go. So let's get into the next game right now. Here we go. So we're going to go against Mafias 29. Got a Goblin Barrel in hand, so we're going to just throw that away on its own, see if we get a bit of cheeky damage. Going to stop this Hog Rider in its tracks with the Tesla Tower. It would have been nicer to get that Tesla Tower more towards the middle and drag that Hog out, so that we could still have the Tesla Tower on defense after he was gone. But not gonna lie, I don't think I was concentrating too hard on it. But let's invest in a Princess at the back, and then this is when I realise I'm gonna need to be rocketing balloons all throughout this game. So luckily we got some good value there. It wasn't just a balloon, so it wasn't a 6 elixir card spent on a 5 elixir card. It was 7 elixir for 6 elixir, so it was a good value trade. So even with a Valkyrie going down the right hand side, I still go for a barrel with an Ice Spirit. Again, it's my favourite attack within the game. Trying to go for that left hand side. So I do tend to try and always go for one side when I'm playing LOGBAIT. You don't want to be mixing and matching your decks. So you can see there I did actually get a log ready, just in case he tried to play something a bit squishy. And again, we're going to get some good value here, get a Valkyrie and a Tesla Tower on the Hog and their Valkyrie. So this whole game is going to be spent just trying to chip away where we can, saving the rockets for the balloons, and saving the Tesla Towers for the Hogs. So again, you can see we're going to chip away and hopefully get a couple of hits here. The Princess does get superb value, so then look, she hits really quite hard for what she does. It's quite nice. So we're going to try and go for a Goblin Barrel here, I think. Oh, Goblin Gang. I think we were trying to draw out the arrows here. And like you can see there, I was very tempted to get a rocket ready, but I think we try and get a rocket on the balloon and a wizard here, but it was a bit too much to ask. So I go for a Valkyrie on the wizard, take a few hits from the Hog. It's not a problem. We've now drawn out those arrows, and he missed them as well. So we should be good to go. That's why we go Goblin Gang as well as a barrel, and we've got a Princess down, and we just get amazing value here. Like there's no way that Mafias is coming away with a win here. It was an amazing game, but he made a very, very clumsy mistake at the end there. So he does try and balloon, I think, down the right hand side here, maybe? No. But yeah, like without that balloon going down, I had nothing else to spend a rocket on, and the victory was ours. So let's go into the next game right now. Sweet, okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I can't read that name. So again, Goblin Barrel at the start. Send it in with an Ice Spirit, hoping that they don't have a log ready to go. And they've gone for a Golem right at the start, so we're going to try and build up a defense. So Tessa in the middle and a Princess at the back, so that she can splash onto that right hand side and like really get some good value out of her. So Valkyrie's going to go down, going to make sure that we don't take like Valkyrie hits on the Tesla tower, and it was very unfortunate about this this tornado, but we defend this one pretty well, and it's all good. And he even gives us a Goblin Gang to log away, even though he knows we're playing LOGBAIT. So we're either going to Princess at the bridge, or we're going to send in a Goblin Barrel on its own, just to get that value. Okay, so we got another golem coming out our way, so we're going to get a Tester Tower down when we're full on elixir. Again, Princess at the back, making sure you get some superb value here out of her. And the other thing to bear in mind is that tornado. We need to try and make sure that we don't give him a stupidly good value tornado again. So he knows the Princess is going to get amazing value, like ripping apart the bats and stuff like that. So I now need to distract the Night Witch, and we can go for another Tesla Tower just to make sure we don't take any additional damage, and we come away from this push without any real problems. So you can see me, like I couldn't remember how much damage the rocket did. So you can see me debating here as to whether to just send in a Goblin Barrel or whether I should send in a rocket. So we log away the Goblin Gang because that's the only thing that he's got that you know is worth using it on. And again here, we just need to be wary about getting Princess value and not giving him a value tornado to rip our stuff apart. So he's opted to just use the tornado on the Princess to kill off the Princess using the baby dragon. And again, we come away here with like very minimal damage. And then there we go. Take the win with a single Goblin Barrel. Obviously, we could have rocketed there, but always best is to conserve the elixir where you can. So let's get back into the rest of the video. Substitutes. We've already mentioned a couple of obvious substitutes, such as taking the Tesla Tower out for the Inferno Tower if you're seeing a lot of heavier troops such as Golem, Mega Knight or Lava Hound, or removing the Valkyrie for the cheaper Knight if you're not seeing as many squishies. The Barrel, Ice Spirits, Goblin Gang and Princess are invaluable to this deck, and I can't in good conscience recommend removing them. The Valkyrie could be swapped out for a number of troops depending on what you're seeing in the meta, so if you're seeing a lot of Log and Zap in the same decks and want to introduce a further layer of bait or just need something to hit a bit harder, you could take the Prince. Alternatively, you might like to invoke more baits in the form of Rascals. There are variants of LOGBAIT that use the Hog Rider as their designated tank. If you'd like to give this a try, I'd recommend taking Fireball instead of the Rocket, as taking the Hog Rider it starts to introduce Hog Cycle while keeping the LOGBAIT aspect, and it changes the archetype ever so slightly by mashing the two together. An interesting tank that I've seen pop up from time to time more recently is the Battle Healer. This allows your goblins to recover from zap and snowballs, but she is quite a weak hitter, so be careful if you choose to take her, as she can't put up quite as good a defense as other tanks. On top of the Inferno Tower, you could swap the Tesla Tower out for the Bomb Tower if you're seeing a lot of hogs with squishy support, or even if you're seeing a lot of LOGBAIT, as this is a further answer to the Goblin Gang behind their tank of choice. The Rocket and Log should only be swapped if you're looking to change the fundamentals of the deck, like the one mentioned above. The log could easily be swapped out for the barbarian barrel, but that does mean you'll lose your good value chip damage on the tower. So I wanted to put a guide in here for the lower level players to give them a pathway to upgrade to this deck. I was going to take screenshots and put the decks up on screen, but it's just easier to do it this way. So from Arena 4 is where I'm going to start this guide from. For Arenas 1, 2 and 3, do what you want. It should be nice and easy for you. But from Arena 4, we want to build a deck that consists of the Arrows, Barbarian Barrel, Goblin Barrel, Inferno Tower, Lightning, Mega Minion, Spear Goblins, and Valkyrie. From here, you can use that all the way through Arena 5, and then at Arena 6 is when you'll be able to swap out the Lightning for the Rockets, and the Barbarian Barrel for the Log, if and when you get it. If you don't get it, it's perfectly fine to keep the Barbarian Barrel in the deck. At Arena 7 is when you can swap the Mega Minion out for the Princess. Obviously, if you can't get the Princess, it's not a problem. Just keep the Mega Minion for the time being until you do actually unlock the Princess. When we get to Arena 8 is when the Ice Spirit is introduced, and you can swap the arrows out for this card. This is when the deck starts to really resemble what we've been looking at throughout this video. In Arena 9, the Goblin Gang gets introduced. It should be a nice easy one to level up and get to the point where you need it to be to use it within the deck. And then in Arena 10 is when the Firecracker is introduced. If at this point you still don't have the Princess, use the Firecracker instead. She's very, very similar. Arena 11 is when the Tesla Tower is introduced, and then at that point you'll have all of the cards necessary to build this exact deck. But I would only recommend putting the Tesla Tower in if the meta demands it. So if you're still seeing a lot of golems and giants and other cards like that, keep the Inferno Tower. Only put the Tesla Tower in if you're seeing a lot of squishy stuff that you can deal with a single shot from a Tesla, like the goblins, skeletons, that kind of stuff. It's probably worth noting that when using this deck, you're not going for a 3-crown win. It's very, very rare that will happen. You will almost always be going for a 1-crown, or at a push, a 2-crown victory. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful in some way. If you'd like to talk to me about this video or about LOGBAIT in general, feel free to hit me up on Twitch. You can find me there every Saturday and Sunday at 12 noon UK time, and also during the week at 7:30 PM UK time if I can fit the stream in. Unfortunately, I can't always fit these evening streams in because I do have work and it's just not viable. So I hope to see you there, and as always, have a good day, have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one. So I'll do it to the side so that you can actually see contact. There you go. I just dropped it as well. Happy days.